Assalamu alaikum. I am Muhammad Amjad, lecturer, Department of Education and Psychology, Kohat University of Science and Technology. I am your instructor for the course Social Psychology. I welcome you to lecture number 11 of your course. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss part 3 of our topic Self. Let's start our lesson. First of all, look at the contents which we are going to discuss in our today's lecture. We will discuss self-presentation, then we will discuss self-presentation goals, and then we will discuss our new topic self-awareness. We will discuss when does self-awareness emerge, and at the end we will discuss levels and types of self-awareness. So let's see what is self-presentation. Self-presentation refers to how people attempt to present themselves to control or shape how others, called the audience, view them. It involves expressing oneself and behaving in ways that create a desired impression. Self-presentation is part of a broader set of behaviors called impression management. Impression management refers to the controlled presentation of information about all sort of things, including information about other people, events. Self-presentation refers specifically to information about the self. Now we will discuss self-presentation goals. Self-presentation is inherently goal-directed. People present certain images because they benefit from the images in some way. The most obvious benefits are interpersonal, arising from getting others to do what one wants. For example, a job candidate may convey an image of being hardworking and dependable to get a job. A salesperson may convey an image of being trustworthy and honest to achieve a sale. People may also benefit from their self-presentation by gaining respect, power, liking, or other desirable social rewards. Much of self-presentation is directed toward achieving one or two desirable images. First, people want to appear likable. People like others who are attractive, interesting, and fun to be with. Thus, a sizable proportion of self-presentation revolves around developing, maintaining, and enhancing appearance and conveying and emphasizing characteristics that others desire, admire, and enjoy. Second, People want to appear competent. People like others who are skilled and able, and thus another sizable proportion of self-presentation revolves around conveying an image of competence. Yet self-presentation is not so much about presenting desirable images as it is about presenting desired image. And some desired images are not necessarily desirable. For example, schoolyard bullies may present an image of being dangerous or to maintain power over others. Some people present themselves as weak or exaggerated their weaknesses to gain help from others. For instance, a member of a group project may display incompetence in the hope that other members will do more of the work, or a child may exaggerate illness to avoid going to school. Now we will discuss our next topic, which is self-awareness. So what is self-awareness? It involves being aware of different aspects of the self, including traits, behaviors, and feelings. Essentially, it is a psychological state in which oneself becomes the focus of attention. Now we will discuss when does self-awareness emerge. Studies have demonstrated that a more complex sense of the awareness of the self begins to emerge at around 1 year of age and becomes much more developed by approximately 18 months of the age. Researchers Lewis and Brooks-Gunn performed studies looking at how self-awareness develops. The researchers applied a red dot to an infant's nose and then held the child up to a mirror. Children who recognized themselves in the mirror would reach for their own nose rather than the reflection in the mirror, which indicated that they had at least some level of self-awareness. Lewis and Brooks-Gunn found that almost no children under 1 year of age would reach for their own nose rather than the reflection in the mirror. About 25% of the infants between 15 and 18 months reach for their own noses, while about 70% of those between 21 and 24 months did so. It is important to note that Lewis and Brooks-Gunn study only indicates an infant's visual self-awareness. Children might actually possess other forms of self-awareness even at this early point in life. For example, Researchers Lewis, Sullivan, Stinger, and we suggested that expressing emotions involves self-awareness as well as an ability to think about oneself in relation to other people. Now we will discuss how does self-awareness develop. Researchers have proposed that an area of the brain known as anterior cingulate cortex located in the frontal lobe region plays an important role in developing self-awareness. Studies have also used brain imaging to show that this region becomes activated in adults who are self-aware. The Lewis and Brooks-Gunn experiment suggested that self-awareness begins to emerge in children around the age of 18 months, an age that coincides with the rapid growth of spindle cells in the anterior cingulate cortex. However, one study found that patients retained self-awareness even with extensive damage to area of the brain including the insula and the anterior cingulate cortex. This suggested that these areas of the brain are not required for most aspects of self-awareness, and that awareness may instead arise from interaction distributed among brain networks. Now we will discuss levels of self-awareness. So how exactly do children become aware of themselves as separate beings? Researchers suggested that children progress through a series of levels of self-awareness between birth and approximately age 4 or 5. Self-awareness is observed by how children respond to their own reflection in a mirror. Now we will discuss types of self-awareness. Psychologists often break self-awareness down into two different types, either public self-awareness or private self-awareness. Now we will discuss public self-awareness. Public self-awareness emerges when people are aware of how they appear to others. Public self-awareness often emerges in situations when people are at the center of attention, such as when giving a presentation or talking to a group of friends. This type of self-awareness often compels people to obey to social norms. When we are aware that we are being watched and evaluated, we often try to behave in ways that are socially acceptable and desirable. Public self-awareness can also lead to evaluation anxiety, in which people become distressed, anxious, or worried about how they are perceived by others. Now we will discuss private self-awareness. This type happens when people become aware of some aspects of themselves, but only in a private way. For example, seeing your face in the mirror is a type of private self-awareness. Feeling your stomach lurch when you realize you forgot to study for an important test, or feeling your heart flutter when you see someone you are attracted to, are also examples of private self-awareness. Students, it's all about for our today's lecture. Now we will review this lecture. We discussed self-presentation, and we said that self-presentation refers to how people attempt to present themselves to control or shape how others view them. We said that it involves expressing oneself and behaving in ways that create a desired impression. Self-presentation is a part of a broader set of behaviors called impression management. And then we discussed self-presentation goals. We said that self-presentation is inherently goal-directed. People present certain images because they benefit from the images in some ways. And we said that the most obvious benefits are interpersonal, arising from getting others to do what one wants. We said that first, people want to appear likable. People like others who are attractive, interesting, and fun to be with. And then we discussed second, people want to appear competent. People like others who are skilled and able, and thus another sizable proportion of self-presentation revolves around conveying an image of competence. And then we discussed about self-awareness. We said that self-awareness involves being aware of different aspects of the self, including traits, behaviors, and feelings. And we said that it is a psychological state in which oneself becomes the focus of attention. And then we discussed when does self-awareness emerge. We said that studies have demonstrated that a more complex sense of the awareness of the self begins to emerge at around 1 year of age and becomes much more developed by approximately 18 months of age. And then we discuss how does self-awareness develop. We said that researchers has proposed that an area of the brain known as the anterior cingulate cortex, located in the frontal lobe region, plays an important role in developing self-awareness. And at the end we discussed that different types of self-awareness. We talk about two types of self-awareness: public self-awareness and private self-awareness. These are the references. It's all about for our today's lecture. I hope you will read it and understand it. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.